Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. She texted at 6:18 p.m. Can't make it tonight. No apology. No explanation. No we'll talk later. Just 4 words dropped into my phone like an afterthought. I was standing in the grocery store aisle, holding 2 different pasta sauces, trying to remember which one she liked. I stared at the screen for a few seconds longer than necessary, waiting for the follow-up that never came. Normally that text would have triggered questions. What happened? Are you okay? Do you want me to pick something up? That's how it usually went. Me filling in the gaps. Me doing the emotional labor. Me trying to stay connected while she drifted. But that night something in me stayed still. I typed 1 word. Sure. I put the phone back in my pocket and stood there for a moment, surprised by how calm I felt. No spike of anxiety. No rush of jealousy. No urge to chase clarity. Just quiet. I bought 1 sauce instead of 2. Something simple. Enough for 1 person. At home the house felt different. Not empty, lighter. No tension humming in the walls. No unspoken expectations waiting for me to trip over them. I set my keys down. Took off my jacket. Looked around. This used to be our routine. Dinner together. Her telling me about her day while scrolling through her phone. Me listening, nodding, filling in pauses. Lately though, dinners had become rushed, distracted, transactional. Talk logistics. Separate into different rooms. Tonight there was none of that. I checked my phone once more. Nothing. I ordered dinner. My favorite place. The one she never liked because it was too greasy and made her feel bloated. I added extra sides without worrying about compromise. While I waited, I poured a drink and sat on the couch. That's when the memories started lining up. Not in a dramatic montage. Just quiet realizations stacking one by one. How often she canceled plans lately. How vague her explanations had become. How she'd stopped asking about my day. How I'd started shrinking conversations to avoid annoying her. I used to tell myself this was normal. That long relationships went through phases. That independence was healthy. But independence doesn't feel like distance. And distance doesn't announce itself. It shows up in small withdrawals. 1 canceled night at a time. The food arrived around 7:40. I ate slowly. Put on a show she never wanted to watch. Let myself enjoy the quiet. At 8:15 my phone buzzed. Everything okay? She asked. I smiled at the timing. It wasn't concern. It was a temperature check. She wanted to know if I was waiting. If I was upset. If I was sitting there imagining reasons. I typed back. All good. That was it. 3 minutes passed. Then 5. At 8:24 another message. You're not mad. I thought about that. I wasn't mad. Not in the way she expected. I replied, why would I be? There was a longer pause this time. When she finally texted back it was different. Softer. I just didn't want you to think I was blowing you off. I stared at that sentence for a while. Because that's exactly what it felt like. But I didn't say that. Instead I wrote, I trust you. And for the first time in a long time I meant something different by it. Trust doesn't mean blind patience. Sometimes it means believing people when they show you who they are. The night went on. I finished my food. Cleaned up. Took a shower. Got into bed alone. At 10:11 p.m. she texted again. Running late. No context. No destination. Just information offered without invitation. I replied, okay. I turned the phone face down. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about where she was. It was about who I was becoming. For months I'd been living in reaction mode. Adjusting to her schedule. Matching her energy. Pretending not to notice the imbalance. Tonight I wasn't reacting. I was observing. She came home after midnight. I heard the door quietly open then close. Her steps were careful. Like she didn't want to wake something. She stood in the doorway of the bedroom for a moment. Hey, she whispered. Hey, I replied without turning over. She climbed into bed slowly. I could feel the hesitation. The calculation. After a few minutes she asked, you didn't eat without me, did you? I almost laughed. Yes, I said simply. Oh, she replied. Pause. I figured you would have waited. I rolled onto my back and looked at the ceiling. I was hungry. She didn't respond right away. You're being quiet, she said. I'm tired, I replied. That was true. Just not in the way she thought. The next morning she acted normal. Too normal. Cheerful. Chatty. Overcompensating. Sorry about last night, she said, pouring coffee. It just ran long. What did? I asked. She blinked. Work stuff. I nodded. Got it? That answer used to bother me. The vagueness, the lack of detail. Now it felt like confirmation. She leaned against the counter. You okay? I looked at her then. Really looked. And I realized something important. She wasn't checking in on me. She was checking for damage. I'm fine, I said. She smiled, relieved. That smile told me everything. Because people who care about you ask how you feel. People who are hiding something ask if you're upset. Over the next few days it happened again. Late texts, canceled plans, casual explanations. And each time I responded the same way. Calm, short, unbothered. Not to punish her. To listen. Because when you stop chasing clarity, the truth gets louder. One night, as I was clearing out old emails, I stumbled on something I hadn't thought about in years. An account notification. A shared service we'd set up together long ago. One we'd both forgotten about. Out of curiosity, I logged in. And that's when I saw it. A pattern. Dates, times, locations. All lining up with the nights she couldn't make it. I sat there for a long time, staring at the screen. Not angry. Not shocked. Just resolved. Because suddenly the text from that first night made perfect sense. Can't make it tonight. She wasn't asking for space. She was making space for someone else. And the reason my sure unsettled her so much was because for the first time I wasn't standing where she left me.